Without further ado, our special guest, Zetta the Babe, as well as Poetry Through Art Minded.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Wonderful. We have like 200 people in this room, and everyone's like, I'm okay. How's everybody doing today? Okay, yeah, we about to get crazy. No, I'm just kidding. No, thank you so much for the introduction, Bria. I'm really grateful to be here. I was here in April in St. Pete. And believe it or not, I've had green hair twice in my life, okay? Both the times I've happened to be at a Creative Morning. It wasn't planned that way. But yeah, I'm really excited about the theme, Blossom. Blossom to me means growth, and I, believe it or not, want to be a motivational speaker. That's what my life dream is. I want to teach people that it's possible to achieve anything with the power of some self-discipline, some knowledge, taking action on that knowledge. And I feel like people should just want to submit to growth. Like, commit your life to growth. It's a full life thing. It's a lifelong path. So with that being said, I actually recently released an album. It's called Pact, Poetry and Sax. Pact being like making a pact with yourself to be vulnerable with yourself every day, because the theme is fighting perfectionism using vulnerability. So what I wanted to do today was give you a little example of what that is. I partnered with 13 artists in the area, and all poets, and I had them share a vulnerable poetry piece, and I play saxophone behind them. So I'm going to, we have a little treat a little bit later to show you guys a little bit of something because I have two showcases coming up. One is at the Palladium out in St. Pete. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. It's a really big show that I'm putting on, one of my first larger shows. And I actually have a show next Tuesday that's going to be a mini version of that. So if you will humor me, the first song I'm going to do for you guys today is Killing Me Softly by Roberta Flack. I do this a lot out live, but it's a very vulnerable song. It's about connecting with, a musician that she saw coming, a stranger who she feels like connected with her, and she doesn't even know who this person is. And that's how we should feel about the arts in all ways. So I wanted to sing that for you, if that's okay. Just kind of, and if you like this version, it is available on all streaming platforms. It's just a reminder to, take on the arts in all forms and get a little bit vulnerable. So, like I said, I had a little gift I wanted to give and show you guys just what I mean when I say poetry and sax and what that looks like. So, my beautiful girlfriend, Abby, she decided, she's actually on the album. She has a meditative piece. She owns a yoga retreat company, and so it's really in line with what she's doing. But I wanted to have her come up, come on up, baby. I wanted to have her come up, take a seat, and share a poem, and give you guys just an example of what you can expect if you do feel so inclined to come to my showcase on the 23rd of October from 6 to 9 at the Palladium.
Hi there, my name is Abby. As you know, all poets have a fun name. Mine is Art Minded, and this kind of centers around this idea of connecting the mind and the heart, and the mind and the body, which centers the work that I do, connecting Eastern and Western science to help people find healing. So this poem is entitled Bloom. I've written it for this beautiful event, and I'll be joined by my beautiful girlfriend playing some saxophone. You guys ready for that? Okay, let's do it. Soft morning sunlight finds my heavy gaze, and my arms open to its embrace. Echoes reverberate the inner tunnels of my heart as life cracks open my ribcage. The hands of the sun gently turn the soil and plant roots of truth in my heart space. Pieces of me here pale from years in darkness hidden away, shadowed in lights of saving face, held in the shaking hands of guilt and shame, now broken open with nowhere to escape. Is this interrogation? Or is this divine fate? Whispers of sun rays crawl the walls of my pain, cracked plaster and paint, ghosts of old heartbreaks. But the fingertips of the sun dance on the walls of these caves. The wind picks up and whispers sprout into words. These words, they bloom from my chest. Their vines climb my throat and ask to escape. So I open my mouth and let years of truth radiate. The sun, she wraps her love around the flowers of my shadows. She plucks them with a soft grace. Not as weeds, but as a beautiful bouquet. Thank you, baby.
No, thank you. That was wonderful. Yeah, we're just flying by the seat of our pants. It may all look orchestrated, but it is not. Okay, so that was wonderful. You did great. All right, so I'm going to end, someone give me a time check. We're good. Okay, got some time. All right, well, I figured I would play just a little bit of saxophone. So just like I said, that's something that you'll see on, at the showcase, except for we'll be a little bit more theatrical. There'll be a little bit more pizzazz, because poets are generally extra. This is the least extra poet I know, honestly. I'm extra, so that together will be fabulous. So you should just want to come out and enjoy. But on the album, I also have plenty of saxophone pieces, interludes such as this. So I figured I'd kind of, go around and play a little bit of saxophone until it is my time. That sound okay? Okay, so last time I was here, I played the song Creep by Radiohead, okay? And it was a hit. And I wasn't going to do that again, but I could, if you guys would like. Okay, that's a thing I could do. Because that is my favorite song to play, and I would like to play it, but I'm like, oh, I did that last time. Okay. Oh, don't twist my arm. I guess. Yeah, no, this is also available on all streaming platforms as well. This song and Killing Me Softly, I decided to do as a covers and put them online. So if you like it, you can stream it. That's my time, y'all. Thank you for humoring me with the creep, okay? I play that song so much. But yeah, I've had such a good time. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So, thank you so much. Give it up for Zeta and the Babe one more time, and for Art Minded. Whoop. Now we welcome our speaker, and our speaker has a very special place in the history of I was about to give Ronald McDonald House. That's where my actual job is. In the history of Creative Mornings. She was a part of our first iteration when we were Creative Mornings St. Pete, the previous owner of Suncoast Compost, and just a very special friend. Her husband has been a speaker. Now she gets to fill out our entire speaker series this year at Tampa, as being our last Tampa Hotel Hyatt speaker this year. And so we're very excited to have her prolific botanical artistry. If you couldn't tell already, you might have even seen her work here at Hotel Hyatt in previous iterations or at Cafe Clementine. So without further ado, so happy to have Callie Rabaut on the stage.
Good morning. So nice to see all you beautiful morning people. Oh my gosh, these smiles are so lovely. I'm Callie. Nice to meet y'all. I always like to start out my flower workshops and flower gatherings with a question. And I'm going to bring out my old teacher hat, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to turn to your neighbor and tell them your name if they don't know you already. But the question is, what is your favorite flower memory?
It's a symbol of appreciation. Yeah, that was special. Like, Lisa. I did this. Yeah, I'm going to use this. Perfect.
I'm excited to hear what you got. Yeah, how do you rein them in once you get them going?
I like an apartment, and when I moved here, I could put plants outside. And in Florida, it's so plastic.
All right, finish up your thought there. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. I like starting from that place because it usually takes people to I don't know, from what I was hearing from other friends here, it takes you to thinking about people, maybe a grandma or a mom a lot of times. And that's what I love about flowers, is that they really connect us to each other. And they speak for us at moments where we can't really find the words to say all we need to say. So thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Hey, there we go. That's the cue.
Okay, so very happy to be back here at Creative Mornings. This is the first Creative Mornings that I attended. So there's Paul and I when we just had one child. We look so young and fresh. 2017 this was, and yeah, Paul was the speaker, and you guys, the theme was genius, and we are still trying to deflate his ego from that theme. But I guess they saved the best for last, and I have the microphone now. But yeah, so we had a compost business, Suncoast Compost, and we were the first curbside composting business in Tampa Bay, and we did it. And it's still going on, but we sold it a couple years ago. But at the talk, he was talking about the composting and aquaponics and designing for zero waste. Love to see the mug library still going. And yeah, you had your bees, and so it was a really fun talk. But what's happening here is we had a recycling relay race, and it's like a little hard to see, but like it was intense. Like that guy is really trying to win. That was a lot of fun. So I'm very happy to be back here again. Thank you so much to everybody who helps make this happen. I see you and I appreciate you so much. And so grateful for all the friends and family who are out here today. Thank you so much. I see you and I appreciate you. And for everybody who's watching after the fact on video, I see you, and I appreciate you. So, okay, but I didn't always want to be a composting girly. Because when I was growing up, I wanted to be on the stage. I grew up doing musical theater and singing and dancing and acting. And so, yeah, that's what and I also dreamed of being a teacher. And those two things are exactly what I went on to do from the age of 5, doing community theater, and then going on to do regional equity theaters like at Free Fall and Stageworks and the Straz. And then in college, I worked at Busch Gardens singing and dancing in their shows. And then went on to, I got my degree at USF and studied elementary education and got my master's in ed leadership. And I went on to teach in the public schools for 6 years. And then in 2016, we decided to start a family, and being a teacher wasn't fitting with the flexible sort of lifestyle that I wanted to have for a family. And so, we do what one does in that situation, and we started a compost business. So that's how it came to be. But yeah, really grateful for the compost business. Like, I definitely would not be here without it. The flowers literally and figuratively grew out of the compost. But I can just see that girl with her stage makeup on sitting by the compost sifter. It was like an interview for a newspaper kind of thing, but still, I could see that maybe she wasn't totally creatively fulfilled, and but I am nevertheless still grateful for the composting. And so this is the seed of how I got to here. This is the farm where we did the composting out in Riverview, and I can just remember the moment. So you could see Paul toiling away, turning the compost piles by hand, and I had our daughter on my back in a little baby carrier, and we're just like walking around the farm. And the owner of the farm had planted a beautiful cut flower field that was just coming into bloom. And I didn't know the names of flowers, and so I was just walking around and just and so I was Googling things what's this? And then I was Florida and flowers, and I found a farmer florist in Orlando, and I was like, whoa, this is a thing? Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna do that when I retire. Is there anything that you are thinking you might do when you retire? But fast forward to 2020, and we have our second child. And so big life changes. We moved to Tampa from Riverview. And what else happened in 2020? There's something. Yeah. So we are home like so many others, and we are gardening, of course. Anybody else start a COVID garden? Yeah, cool. So lots of changes there at that time. And then also in 2020, my little brother Micah passed away from cancer at the age of 31. And I had a very different flower taste then. That was so you just realize that you don't always get to retire. And I know that he would be super happy for me. Without that kind of understanding, I also probably wouldn't be where I am now. So this was the house that we moved into, that we still live in Tampa Heights. It is the Blue House. So this was 2019, we moved in, and there wasn't much there. We had a big agave that we had to take out because that was dangerous for the children. But yeah, we knew we wanted to garden. I wasn't quite there about this whole Blue House Florals thing, but we knew we were gardening, and so what we did was we covered it with cardboard, and we put down mulch, and then compost, and then mulch, and you do this lasagna method to like snuff out the weeds and build to fast forward that soil so you have good organic soil to grow stuff out of. So this is before, and now today it is filled with a massive cut flower garden and fruit trees and chickens and veggies wherever Paul can squeeze them in. So yeah, he planted some zinnias during that COVID garden era, and it got me playing and cutting and arranging, and it just all kind of came together at that point. And I kicked him out of the garden, and I said, "This is all mine." I made him rip up all of his fruit trees on the north side of the house. And we filled it all with flowers. So now here I am. It is my 6th year growing and designing flowers, and it's truly an honor to be able to do this work. I think it's very sacred work to be able to accompany folks, to be able to support people at their most important moments, weddings and celebrations and like I had a baby shower in here over the summer. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just like a voyeur. I just like want to be where the most, but no, it is really special to just like be at those really special moments. Yeah. So I'm not like other florists, as maybe you saw from my arrangement, because I am using the garden to inspire my designs. I'm using what is growing locally in my garden, my neighbors' gardens. Like whenever I'm driving around town, I'm taking inventory and I'm seeing what's blooming. And I have neighbors here today where, I'm like, what you have over there? Can I please? But that is the beautiful part of doing floristry in this slow way, is that I get so connected to my community and my neighbors. We have our neighborhood potlucks, and I see my neighbors rolling by with their bikes and their dogs and all of that. So it's more than just flowers. It really is a lifestyle. That sounded dumb. But yeah, this is my style. It's garden style. I am trying to listen to the flowers and let them tell me what they want to do, and the way that they grow in the garden and what they're growing up next to and how they make their own combinations help inform me. Like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of putting that color and that color together, but there they are. And so it's a little wild and and I do want to get on my soapbox for a second. I totally do use conventionally grown cut flowers that you typically get from a florist when I need to. I obviously can't grow all the flowers that I need sometimes. However, I have a hierarchy. So first it's my garden, and then it's other local farms and gardens, and then it's USA grown, and then I'll go conventionally grown, because 80% of the cut flowers in the US are flown in from overseas, as far away as Ecuador and Colombia, and of course the carbon impact of that is huge, not just the transportation, but those refrigeration costs that go along with it. and the pesticides and herbicides that they have to get doused with in order to enter this country make them not my first choice. So just something to be aware of. So yeah, now the garden has become my stage. Now the garden is my slow motion performing art. And yeah, I really embrace that more and more every year as maybe it's just like a getting older thing where you realize, oh, the art isn't like the arrangement, it's like life. So I'm starting to get that. So now this is just like how I got here, and now we're gonna just take a little greatest hits journey with me, okay? So this is what I did years 1 through 4. I would do the flower bike. Did anyone ever see me with a flower bike? Cool. Yeah, so I would harvest the flowers in the garden and put them in my cargo bike. And then I would ride to market. I would do Hyde Park Market and Water Street, and then just pop up at like Pete's Bagels or wherever, and people could build their own bouquet. And that was such a wonderful way to meet other people and connect and just like see what people thought about these flowers. But ultimately, I have retired the flower bike, switching more to like weddings and workshops and things like that. But really my favorite part, which we're going to come back to in a second, was riding to market, being on the Riverwalk with a cargo bucket full of flowers and seeing people's faces react to that. Was like, sometimes I would just like grab some flowers and like throw it in the woo. So I liked that better than doing the markets, but I made friends at markets, and yeah, it's a good time. Okay, all right, so this was an installation I did at Cafe Clementine. Did anybody see that in person? Cool, thanks. If you know me, you know that food is the way to my heart, and so Cafe Clementine has my whole heart. And the Museum of Fine Arts in St. Pete does a Art in Bloom every year in the spring, where florists are invited to create arrangements, designs, inspired by the works of art. So this was part of that event, which happens, I think, in March or April, so you guys should check it out this coming year. And yeah, I just basically like took the garden and tried to like plop it down right there for them. So we have everything from like dill flowers to kale to Dutch iris and echinacea, and it was a whole symphony of things. Okay, this was also for Art in Bloom, and I picked the photograph Earth that was taken by Apollo 8 astronaut, and so it's very hard to see, but yeah, so you can see like the photograph of Earth. It looks like pixels, but yeah, I mean, it was an old black and white photo. And then I took a Cosmo and I made it levitate essentially, and it spun, right? So I just loved like the wordplay of Cosmo, the flower Cosmo, and the cosmos. But something that was fun about this is that it had its own security guard. Someone stood there because everybody like wanted to touch it, be like, "Oh my God, is it really floating?" And would try and like put stuff underneath it. So yeah, that was a really fun piece. And I mean, for all these pieces, I definitely got to shout out Paul, because I think of them and I'm like, how do we do that? And then he's like, okay. And it's really, yeah, so we made that nice custom pedestal to highlight the cosmos there. Okay, and then this was at Hotel Haya a couple of years ago. So I brought the flower bike back, and this was part of Hillsborough Community College's art galleries, Now on View Festival has been, yeah. Woo-woo. And so The festival asks artists to look at Tampa's past, present, and future and create a piece about that. And so I did that through the flowers. So essentially I just like thought of like riding my bike through a little time portal. And so I used some like sea grapes to make a little arch, and then the flowers were like skid into a halt with flowers busting out at the wheels, and then people could come in. It was interactive. And there were different buckets. So there were literal buckets for past, present, and future. So the past flowers were like Tampa native, Florida native plants. Like it was a lot of beach sunflowers. And then the present was kind of my like spiel about the conventionally grown flowers, things as we do flowers now, imported. And then the future flowers were like how I imagine heat tolerant, drought resistant, resilient flowers, things like marigolds and zinnias and things like that. So made a little bouquet of past, present, and future. That was really fun. And yeah, made me love Hotel Haya because they're such gracious hosts. Okay, and then I came back to Cafe Clementine last year, and we made a little matcha cloud because there was a kimono exhibit going on, and they have a wonderful matcha there. So once again, yeah, we used what was in the garden. We had dill and ami and all this foliage to create a nice, gooey, fluffy cloud. Okay, and of course we're still composting. All the flowers that don't get used, or after big events, we have to break down all those flowers, we bring them back, and we either donate them to a local assisted living facility down the road from us, or we compost them. Okay, and then I think I just have 2 more here. This I did a little less than a year ago. So the beginning of the season can be a little slow for me, flower-wise. Like spring is pretty bonkers, but this time of year is like our spring. So like I have a lot of flowers, and the demand isn't quite there. So I'm always like kind of like quiet, and I get a little sad. Like I have a lot of flowers, and where are the people? But yeah, so this time last year we had our hurricanes, and there was this huge pot that washed up in the middle of the Hillsborough River, and I would go on these morning walks, and every day I saw this pot in the river, and sometimes I would see it and sometimes I wouldn't. It would depend upon the tide. And I just really felt like I needed to put flowers inside of it. It's probably the same way, a painter feels drawn to the blank canvas or the writer to the page. And so I got together with my friend Caitlin, a photographer who's a neighbor and a friend. And I was like, hey, could you take some pictures of me putting some flowers in here? And we had to consult a bunch of tide charts and get the timing right. We had some plywood pieces so we got low tide, and then I jumped all these plywood pieces, and then with my flower buckets, so I didn't fall into the muck of the Hillsborough River. And I only had 2 minutes to create this because I was sinking in the mud. Usually I take about 45 minutes to create an arrangement. So I was like, okay. And usually I'll step back, go get some coffee, fiddle with it. But no, I just had to put it in there. And that was such a cool realization exercise for me too. And so, it was done. Okay, take my plywood pieces back, do the dance, and then we just watched the tide come in. And, it was just a very nice way to take, all the climate anxiety and election anxiety and the wildfire fire anxiety that was going on, and just like put all these fiery, resilient marigolds into a pot and just live at a different time of tides and sit there with my kids and my friend and let it all get engulfed. And like the amaranth was all wavy like eels, and we actually didn't get to see the end because, well, I could tell you about that another time. There's a zine, and you can read all about it. So that was the marigolds on the ribbit piece. And last one here, it was the second Now on View Festival with Hillsborough College art galleries, and Paul and I made an infinity mirror booth to once again look at the past, present, and future of Tampa, but this time we used seeds. So you guys have some seed packets. So these were the seed packets that I gave out at this event. And I just really love how seeds connect us to the past. All the folks who had to save the seeds before, and the present, you have it now. You have this potential in your hands, and the future, like, I have that picture that was like me on the stage with all the cosmos, like. That's maybe 12 generations of cosmos there. They pop up like 3 times a year. And so, those seeds that you have, I really hope that you go and plant them today, tomorrow at the latest, because I don't want you to wait for like the perfect garden or the perfect plot or whatever. Just like take those seeds, throw them down in some dirt, an abandoned pot off the side of your porch, just like on the right of way, wherever, put those in the ground. You have zinnias, marigolds, what else is in there? Cosmos. You have a little assortment. Ooh, and blanket flower. You got 4 things in there. And if you've never planted seeds before, that's okay. You can just it's fine. But if you want to get technical about it, there's no upside down when you plant a seed, okay? And then however long the seed is, that's how deep you plant it. So if it's like 1/2 inch long, you plant it 1/2 inch deep. If it's 1 inch long, plant it 1 inch deep. And then if it's like a grain of sand, just like drop it, don't bury it. Because inside the seed are the first 2 leaves. And so if you think about it breaking open, if those leaves, those little solar panels can't reach the sun, then they're not going to grow. So that's the depth. And so I want you to plant those seeds today or tomorrow. Will you do that, please? Yes. And I did not think about how to end this. I was like, seeds, it's poetic.
So actually, does anyone have a burning question for Callie? We are analog today, y'all, so I do need you to come over here to be able to speak into the mic so everyone might hear, especially for our recorded friends. See you, love you. So does anyone have a burning question for Callie? Kat. Kat does.
Kat, I saw your show at Fringe. Yay.
Oh, wow, thanks. And thank you for doing this talk. It's really illuminating, especially when you go on your soapbox. So I'm wondering, can you speak a little bit more about Big Flower and the benefits to going with a local florist?
Big Flower. I mean, I don't want to poop on any florists. I just think that what I do is kind of a different thing. So I do the florist thing. I do the deliveries and all the events and kind of stuff. But I also love just getting people to grow and doing
the workshops and guidance and inspiration, because it's just amazing how like a single flower can transform a whole room. So while I do want people to pay me thousands of dollars for weddings, that's great. I also want everybody to just have flowers in their house and be able to share the beauty of flowers. And I'm gonna embarrass my friend Heather right now. Raise your hand, Heather. Okay, so Heather is also a farmer florist in Tampa, and she has a beautiful garden in her front yard as well. And she just does, what do you call them? Free Joy Days, and she just puts out the bouquets for her neighbors to just take, and like that kind of stuff is what I want to see more of. I didn't teach her that, she did that, but oh, okay. Oh, because it was in the backyard. Okay, nice.
See, right there, that's the type of thing we want to put out in this community, right there. Is there any other
Heather's Garden? Follow
Heather's Garden over at Tampa
Heather's
Heights.
Tampa Garden. Yes.
Yeah, Tampa Heights. So I do want to be mindful of time because we try to end on time. So is there a burning question, or Callie, I'm sure, is going to stick around for a few minutes if you have a burning question you'd like to chat with her about? Oh yes, burning question. Perfect.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing. It sounds like you have so many parts of your business, and that's super exciting. I was curious about how you might describe how your design aesthetic has evolved as you've done more floral design, how you balance maybe like your own aesthetic and if a bride comes to you, and then, yeah, like what excites you about designing?
Ooh, thank you so much. Recently, I feel like I'm trying to get back to like my first year of growing and designing when I didn't know anything. So I think there's that. And then it is interesting to try and like steer people in the direction that we want. So it's just always a question of me being like, I just straight up ask them like, how important is locally grown to you? And then I just kind of gauge it from there. But most of the people that come to me, they see what I'm putting out there. And so, yeah, usually it works out good.
So usually the aesthetic-minded people find you as well.
Yeah, if you just keep on being like, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am, they're like, they see what they're going to get.
It's true. I feel like that's why y'all showed up today. Hopefully you like kind of knew like these are my people. You're going to know if they're not. So thank you so much, Callie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You can find Blue House Florals in many places. As she said, there is a whole website, workshops. Please look up Callie's next availability or where you're going to find her flowers. I've seen them at Armature Works, just many, many beautiful places.